The European Parliament and Member States have reached an agreement on the mandatory rollout of Bill Gates' Digital ID, which has inbuilt features designed to exclude people from society if they don't comply with the globalist agenda. Here at The People's Voice, we've been warning the masses for years that a key plan in the globalist agenda involves digital IDs and central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, to lock humanity in a digital prison. And the European Union has just admitted that we were right all along. The elite have always denied these plans, describing anybody who dared to expose them as conspiracy theorists, who need to be muzzled on social media, frozen out of society, and in some cases thrown in prison. But now, the globalists are making their move. But you don't have to submit to their authoritarian plans. It's not too late to fight back. In fact, there are millions of people around the world who are rising up against this tyranny, and we've got all the details coming up. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, join the People's Voice Locals community to support the channel and gain access to uncensored content, and visit collective.thepeoplesvoice.tv to claim your ownership stake in this channel and shape the future of alternative media. Member of the European Parliament Rob Roos broke the bad news about the globalist institutions' plans to roll out mandatory digital IDs designed by Bill Gates, with mass enslavement of humanity in mind.
I just left the room where we had the negotiations about the digital identity, and I have bad news. The Member States and the European Parliament came to an agreement. That means that probably not far from now, the digital identity will be effect in the European Union. Right after this agreement, Commissioner Breton said, now we have the digital identity wallet, we have to put something in it. And what he meant was the digital euro, also known as the central bank digital currency. And this is a very bad development. They always promise us not to make this connection. And even a lot of experts, privacy experts and security experts, warned also last week this is a very bad idea for our privacy and our freedom. And still, this digital identity is pushed through.
To be known as EIDs, the digital identity technology will grant the political elite in Europe the power to freeze people's bank accounts, stop them from buying flights, groceries, basic necessities, and from participating in society in any meaningful way. And if you don't believe this is what they're planning, you haven't been paying attention. The United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, is launching a project to advance the agenda, which will ensure all members of the public will be forced to participate in the scheme. The project is based on what's known as a digital public infrastructure, aka DPI. The UN's justification for demanding that the human race be imprisoned with digital IDs is the supposed necessity to reach the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. That's right, they're blaming climate change on this one too. According to Professor Richard Werner, who was a former WEF Young Global leader, the global elite have been planning this attack on humanity for decades. And they're now preparing to drop a cluster munition in the heart of civil society to soften people up so they will accept the digital ID. According to Werner, the elite's ultimate goal is a digital ID chip under the skin.
They have literally delayed their agenda. Because I think it's so important to them, they've been very careful about the timing, and let's wait a little longer, let's have this crisis first, let's have COVID first, soften them up. But they've delayed, because the technology was already ready around 2015 to roll out. Mm. And what people don't mention is, what do these CBDCs actually look like? At the moment, there's a bit of talk about this being phone-based apps. And yes, that is the initial phase. But what was already ready around 2015 is the ultimate goal, what they really want. Apparently, I was told by a central banker, is, CBDCs looks like a small grain of rice that they want to put under your skin, which is, in my view, a violation of human dignity. And they realize there is a hurdle. So to get people to accept this, there will be, why suddenly are all the billionaires saying, let's have universal basic income? Because the story is going to be, now we've created this vast unemployment and disruption and crises. Well, we need universal basic income. you will get 2,000 euros into your account every month. But of course, to run this efficiently, we need to use the latest technology. So, you need the CBDC chip implant. But how many people will say, okay, fine, £2,000, 2,000 euros,
a surprising proportion, shockingly, obviously, to me or yourself, but we've seen years ago in Sweden, there has been a substantial small minority take-up of what's currently much larger. It's kind of like a little cylinder in stainless steel, I guess. Maybe it's titanium or something. And they are doing it because they just want to. They want to be early adopters of this nonsense. So if anyone's listening and that sounds fanciful or conspiracy theorish, the fact is in Sweden they are taking it up and in other places, and that's not coming out of nowhere. That's not just some local tech firm makes this. It's part of the early adoption kind of tendrils coming out from the mothership. So yeah, interesting times ahead. But now, as you say, Richard, now is the chance for awareness, wider awareness, and the time to start taking action in any way you can.
Exactly.
The next step in the elite's plan for mass adoption and total control involves the creation of another global disaster. According to Werner, the moral from dealing with these dangerous nightmare people is a simple one. Don't let them implement their agenda. Don't let it happen. It depends on you. The global elite are determined to take authoritarianism to a whole new level, far surpassing anything attempted in Mao's China or Stalin's Russia. The push for DPI or digital IDs, vaccine passports and CBDCs is being championed by the WEF, in conjunction with Bill Gates and his foundation, the UN and the European Union. Unsurprisingly, the technology will be tested in countries in Africa and India that Bill Gates considers his personal laboratories, before being rolled out globally before 2030. Ominously, the WEF came out with a series of articles in September pushing for DPI enforcement. The WEF promises that a new cashless society and digital IDs will be welcomed by the public due to their zero knowledge of technology. They really think we're stupid, and they can get away with their crimes against humanity. According to Werner, we shouldn't be thinking of CBDCs as a currency at all. You have to think of CBDCs as a control system or a permit system, not a currency, Professor Werner explained. He's not wrong. China has perfected the system of social control using CBDCs to maintain total control over the masses. It's always 1984 in China.
They're constantly monitored by facial recognition cameras that are able to instantly put a face to a name. Now the Chinese are also ranked, given a mark out of a possible 950 points. The state will go over every detail of a person's life with a fine-tooth comb. Their financial situation, spending habits, career, even behavior on social media. Criticizing the government online or displaying outward signs of wealth is a no-no. On the other hand, praising the party or giving blood increases your social credit.
As a good citizen, I respect the rules of the road. If I didn't, I'd lose points on my social credit.
Buying cigarettes would count against her. On the other hand, nappies show she's an attentive mother. Beer could indicate alcoholism. She'd be better off buying water. A good score brings benefits, but people with low scores lose rights. The cinema names and shames people considered untrustworthy, plastering their details, even their addresses, across big screens.
World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab admitted that China is the model for WEF policies. So it's interesting to see the Chinese government roll out their plans that mirror his own dream of impoverishing the masses and eliminating private ownership. The promise that you'll own nothing and be happy was not a joke. Here at The People's Voice, we are determined to continue exposing the crimes of the elites, but we need your help. Subscribe to the channel, spread this video far and wide, and join the People's Voice Locals community for exclusive and uncensored content. And don't forget, you can claim your ownership stake in the channel at collective.thepeoplesvoice.tv and shape the future of media. I hope to see you there.